Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Lane Perry and I'm here today to speak with you about the value of service to learning here at Western Carolina University. I serve as the Executive Director of our Center for Community Engagement and Service Learning, and it is my honor to come to you today virtually in order to explain to you some of the moving parts, specifically in times of COVID, around service and community engagement at Western. So before we start, I'll give you an outline in a second. I want to point you towards our COVID-19 update for fall 2020. All of our programming will meet the standards and guidelines in local, state, and national policies for health and safety related to COVID-19. This includes reduction in group sizes, social distancing or physical distancing, sanitization practices, hand sanitizers, and the requirement of face coverings, including masks, face shields, and other PPE, etc. Right here, you'll see a few of these QR codes as we go through the presentation together today. And there you can pull your phone up and you can take a screenshot of that with your camera, and then it will take you to the landing page that is the URL where you can have access to that. I just give you a quick signpost here because I'll use quite a few QR codes as we go through here because I know you'll be typing into this remotely. So moving forward, here are the things that we're going to be addressing today. Why is community engagement important? And not why is it important now, why is it important at Western, but generally, why is community engagement important to you as a member of a democracy, as members of communities, and as folks who are going to have very high expectations of them when they walk across stage. So I'll talk to you about why community engagement is important. Then we'll talk about how we organize service learning and community engagement at Western, and I'll signpost the Lilly Community Engagement Award. Then we'll talk about what we actually do to provide the form of opportunity in the form of awareness advocacy, donation and fundraising, direct service, and our service learning course designations. So I'm going to begin with a premise. I often ask when I'm in person if students would like to hear the good news or the bad news first. And there's something consistently profound about students always asking for the bad news first. So that's what we'll get to here in a second. So the bad news is that there are challenges that exist in our world. There are natural disasters, there's hunger and homelessness, there are still civil wars going on all over the world, where countries are still trying to figure out their differences in order to come to a cohesive solution for a way to move forward that's amicable for all involved, or unfortunately, in many cases, amicable for none involved. In addition to that, we have a global pandemic that's sort of out there informing and impacting our lives every single day. So the point in this particular moment in the presentation is to articulate to you that there are challenges that exist in our world. And for the sake of our conversation this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, whenever you're piping into this particular session, for the sake of this discussion, those challenges exist outside of this comfortable virtual world that we're sitting in right now together, with our little Brady Bunch faces and our little squares, socially and physically distanced from everyone in our own safe spaces, respectively. Those challenges exist outside of the space we're in right now. That's sort of the point I want to make. Now, the good news is that there are solutions to those challenges. And for the sake of our discussion, we are going to articulate that those solutions exist in here, right? And not necessarily in this virtual space that we're in right now in our own safe little Brady Bunch boxes, but that solutions exist in here, inside of you. And the thing is, those solutions, for better or for worse, are not ready to go yet. They're not ready to be plugged into the challenges that exist in our world. And there's something that stands between the challenges that exist outside of you and the challenges that exist outside the comfort of our virtual Zoom space right now, right? There's something that stands between those challenges and the solutions. And for the sake of this discussion, and for my premise around service learning and community engagement, and the only reason why universities should be grappling in this space is really what stands between the solutions and the challenges. And the answer to that are questions. And not just any question, informed questions. So you might ask yourself, how does one become informed? And what does it mean to be able to ask an informed question? So we become informed through myriad avenues, through social media, through our own personal relationships, through research, right? You're at a university, through mentorship, right? You're getting information from so many different perspectives. And as a solution finder and challenge addresser, you have to come to informed questions that can help breadcrumb your way to solutions that actually address the challenge that you're trying to solve. And so we'll take a step back here, because when the substantive study that was organized that went into service learning, the question was asked, where's the learning in service learning? We had to know where the learning existed in service learning in order to confirm service learning as a high impact pedagogy for engaging students and impacting the community. The answer to that question, when all of the research noise of thousands of surveys and thousands of studies all sort of was refined, we came to one answer. The learning in service learning is inherently in the questions that you as a learner come to ask that otherwise would never be able to be asked had you not had the experience grappling with the real world challenge. So the premise for service learning is a strong one. And I think it's an important one as well, because there's one thing among many that universities are prepared beyond all measure to do. And that is prepare future leaders and learners to ask informed questions. And that's one of the main points I want to leave here. So let's move on and talk about how we organize service. But before we do, I want to point you into one quote that is as salient today, if not more, than it was when it was stated in 1967 by Robert F. Kennedy. It is from numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a person stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, they send forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. I want to leave you with this, because this doesn't say each time Western Carolina University stands up, or each time the US government stands up for an issue, or each time the community table as an organization in our community stands up. It's each time you, as an individual person, stands up for an ideal. It sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And I think there can be so much power found in that, and subsequently funneled and mirrored back into you as an individual who stands up for the things that they believe in. So this is what I like to categorize as the things that get me up in the morning. This is my personal premise and the why for service learning and community engagement. But what I want to do is sort of pivot to some of the stuff that is the more tiring part of the work that we do. And that will include our Lilly Community Engagement Program, and then a lot of our actual programming that we do to engage you with our community. So you'll see here our Lilly Community Award breaks down service kind of into three primary categories, within the last service learning designation as a fourth category. But these three categories include awareness and advocacy, donation and fundraising, and direct service. You can scan your QR code now and it'll take you into Engage, where you'll have to log in, but I'm going to be mirroring that here in a second. So the process for completing service items includes the following. You need to log in and review Engage. You can pre-sign up for activities. You can sign in at the activity to prove that you were there, and then you just keep going. And slowly but surely, you start to accumulate service activities, and you start to make progress towards receiving the Lilly Community Engagement Award. I'll log in a second and show you what that looks like. So what's in it for you? You know, you'll get a certificate of recognition from the Center for Community Engagement and Service Learning. You'll be recognized at our annual awards banquet once you complete your Lilly Award. You get green honors cords for graduation to demonstrate your completion of the Lilly Award. But more important than any of those things, you get an answer to the question, what separates yourself from the 4.0 version of yourself? You get that answer. So when you walk into an interview And perhaps an interviewer or employer, future employer, asks you, so what is this Lilly Award, or what is something that you did that was meaningful outside of your classwork while you were at university that maybe taught you leadership skills or teamwork skills? Well, you'll have an answer to that. If you've completed the Lilly Award, you will have a story to tell, and we will help you craft that story in hopes of leveraging that to demonstrate the holistic approach to learning that you bring, which goes beyond the classroom, which we think is a very important key to all of this. So I'm going to go ahead and enter into Engage here with you. So you'll see I'm in. I'm already logged in, so I haven't typed my password and username in. If you need to do that, please do that. So you're in. You can scan that QR code. We'll go back to the presentation in a second. But what you want to do is you want to come up here to the letter in the corner, and you can investigate paths. Once you click on paths, you can see your progress for any of these different areas. We're going to choose Lilly Award. That's what I have as my default path for obvious reasons. This is also where you find Degree Plus, which is a great program, also to help separate yourself from the 4.0 version of yourself. Same sort of concept. Lilly focuses on community engagement. Degree Plus focuses on 4 earned skills you need to have developed as a Western graduate. It's a fantastic program. But right here, you'll start to see your overall progress, and then also the progress around the different areas that we mapped earlier. So let's check out here. We're going to go to awareness advocacy. Let's say you're interested in there. So look, I need to do 5 of these programs. Okay, I've only done 1, so I've got 4 left to do. This only becomes available once you've completed the previous ones, because you have to confirm your completion of a specific category by doing a reflection on that category. So I'll explain more about that in a minute. So here, I've already done 1, but I want a green check there. So let's see what I can do. I'll click here, and I have a couple of different ways of completing this category. I can report an experience, which is pretty cool. And there are very clean and clear instructions in Blackboard in your USI course module if you want this broken down in greater detail, but I'm just doing this quickly here just to show you one example. So here you can report an experience. Let's say you did your own independent volunteer project and you wanted to do it around awareness and advocacy. Awareness and advocacy is like going to a presentation to learn more about an issue, or watching a documentary, or going to a public lecture on a topic that is related to something you're interested in or might be interested in. So you'll click here, awareness advocacy, and it'll take you into a place to complete a story, right? The information we need to approve your independent volunteer project. So you can even upload a photo of you there in action. And we always like to see that specifically on the direct impact service experiences. So we're going to go back here, because I'm not actually going to report an experience, but there's another way of doing it. You can view events that are coming up. These are programs that we organize for you to participate in. So it's not an independent volunteer project. It's just a part of the system ready to go for you. So we'll view events by calendar. We'll pop over here, and let's see what we got coming up. Dang, there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. See, all of those little purple boxes are things that are coming up in the very near future. So let's check out the one that's coming up most soon, which is September 12th, which is just in a couple short weekends. Let's click this. I'm gonna mark our calendars for this Wine to Water. So Wine to Water, which I'll give you more information soon on this. In the next slide, literally, I'll walk you through what Wine to Water is, but this is just a program showing you the mechanics. You can click I will be attending. You can RSVP to the event. Thanks for your RSVP. Cool, so now I'm signed up to show up. And there'll be more information offered here, like the Zoom link. This is gonna be a virtual presentation that will be live streamed. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But I just wanted to sort of walk you through Engage, because it's a very important and useful tool for you to have access to sign up and to learn about community engagement and many other activities on campus. So let's pop back into our PowerPoint. Remember, you can scan the QR code to get you to Engage, or you can just go to engage.wcu.edu. So here's an overview of the Lilly Award. Lilly Award is a path. You saw that in Engage. There are 4 different categories that you can engage in to complete your Lilly Award. There's only 1 of them that are required. Then you have to choose 2 of the other 3. The required is the gold. The optional of choosing 2 of 3 are the blue. And you can see you need to do 15 items of direct service, which we have set up for you in Engage, or you can do the independent volunteer project to report out on that. Now, on the other side, you can do donation fundraising, awareness advocacy, or service learning designated courses. I want to give you one more signpost here about reporting your experiences. Let's say that you do a food drive with Hurricane Laura, which just came through New Orleans and Texas area. And let's say that you're working with your church in Waynesville, or a nonprofit organization there that maybe your mother or father run. And you're doing service work with them, and you go and you help load up a truck, and you spend 3 or 4 hours doing that on a Sunday. I give this as an example because we literally just did this yesterday. My 7-year-old daughter and I helped load up a truck that's going to help relieve some of the issues that are happening in Louisiana. And let's say you do that. You could go on here, or my daughter Prescott in this case could log into her Engage and submit that as an independent volunteer project under the direct service category. Wait a week or so and you'll get a green check mark as one of your 15 items that you need to complete on the direct service category. So I just wanted to sort of give you that as an example, because I think it's important that we empower you to organize your own service activities in addition to engaging with the ones we organize. 12,000 of you can organize way more service than just the 4 of us in the center can do. So moving on, let's talk more specifically about what we've got going on. So right here, you can see we've got, move this here. You can see we've got the Wine to Water program. So Doc Hindley is the founder and CEO of Wine to Water. He has started an organization that's based out of Boone, North Carolina, that organizes water well building in developing nations in communities that desperately need clean water. And they've also invented this backpack system, which is a filtration system that we're actually going to be building 150 of these backpack filtration systems this semester. And Doc Hindley is going to be kicking us off as the CEO of Wine to Water and inspiring us to want to go and engage in this capacity. So that's on September 12th from 10 to 12 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. He will give an hour lecture and inspirational talk, and then he'll spend about an hour walking us through how to develop the backpack systems. So it's going to be a cool program. It's either going to be on Zoom or Facebook Live. We're still waiting to see where the dust settles on that decision. But this is all going to be updated in Engage as soon as we get this information. But I just wanted to give you an example of an awareness advocacy item. Here are some direct service items that we have coming up for fall 2020. And I'm getting ready to take you into our website for a second here so you can see it. There's another QR code. You can snag that and it will take you there right now if you want to go through your phone. But we have census volunteers. This is Wednesday and Thursday weekly through until the end of September. Census happens once every 10 years. And it is important for our community to receive federal dollars and to also have representation in our House of Representatives. That's all based off of our population, and our population numbers is based on the number of people who complete the census. Right now, as a state, we're not doing very well. We only have about a 60 to 64% response rate across our whole entire state. And the further west you go, the lower that percentage is getting. And so we need to make sure people know about this. So if you want to help raise awareness around census, come on out. You can find this information here in a second. I'll show you. Cullowhee Garden work days. They're weekly, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday. You can see the times here from 3 to dark or from 10 a.m. to noon on those respective days. We'll go to the calendar in a second. I'll show you more. Project Fire is another one where you can split wood that's going to be then shared with homes in our community that need to have warm homes in the winter, and the only source of heat that they have is through wood stoves. And a lot of these folks don't have access to a steady stream of wood and resources, and so Project Fire helps meet that need. So let's pump in here to the website really quickly. I'm going to take you to the Center for Community Engagement's website, and here we are. And what I want to invite you to do to get to the calendar is I want to invite you to scroll down to the calendar. You'll see it right there. And I had mentioned to you the Census Volunteer Day. So we'll scroll down here and look, there's census volunteers. I'm going to show you what it looks like. You can click on it. And then you can read the description, okay, and learn a little bit more. Lane already gave a pretty good description of that, but let's sign up. Boom. Here's your sign up genius. Connects right here. Let's see if anyone signed up yet. Okay, it looks like we have a couple of people signed up this week, which is very cool. And now we'll pop back over here. And I mentioned one of the Silva Garden Workdays. So let's look at this. Let's do a Color Week Garden Workday. There's a Color Week Garden Workday. You run your cursor over it. You can see it. Sorry, I think my thing is bouncing a little bit. If it is, just don't worry. I'm human, not a robot. The Color Week Community Garden is an organic donation-based garden that is right off the backside of campus, less than a mile away. No experience is needed, but if you want to volunteer, you need to email Adam Bigelow here. You click there and you register, because they don't want more than 10 people at the garden at the same time because of COVID. So, but there's still opportunities there. So let's bounce back here to our presentation. And you can see a lot of those different activities, and you can consult our calendar all the time. It's updated on a daily basis. It's an extremely dynamic space, and we find out about new opportunities every single day. So this is a very important topic as well, and I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes on it. Our Center for Community Engagement houses our Student Democracy Coalition, which is a nationally recognized student-led voter registration, education, and activation organization. Try to say that 3 times fast. So what we do is we register students, we educate students, and we vote. We get students to go to the polls and vote. Now, we don't care about party affiliation. That's not our business. Our business is about creating the habit inside of our students to then go on and register and to educate and to vote so that they can engage. So we have vote.wcu.edu. You can scan the QR code in the bottom left-hand corner. I am just going to quickly click on the vote.wcu.edu just to show you what it looks like. So here you go. We've got about a 5 to 7 minute video here that walks you through voting. It's branded for Western Carolina University, and it's a nonpartisan initiative. But we want to remind you that you can register to vote. You can also register here. If you are a North Carolina resident and you've been in North Carolina and you have a state ID or even a state driver's license for the state of North Carolina, you can register to vote online to Jackson County if you're not registered yet, or if you want to re-register because this is where you currently live on Western's campus, you can do that simply by clicking here and walking through the steps that are offered there. Or you can do a paper registration form. You can download it right here and you can complete that information, and you can print that off, sign it, and bring it to the Center for Community Engagement, and we will take it to the Board of Elections every Friday at 4 p.m. So you can come and drop it off here. Now, one of the things, if you are registering on campus, you need to consider your 911 address, which that link is found here. This is the special address that takes people to Allen Hall, or it takes them to Noble Hall, or it takes them to Balsam or Blue Ridge. Every one of those residence halls have a 911 address, and that's important to consider if you are registering to Western Carolina University Residence Hall where you currently live. This particular site has access to how you can get involved, where you can vote. We have an on-campus polling place. There's Chancellor Brown, super supportive of all of our Student Democracy Coalition efforts. You can see here you can absentee ballot, you can request an absentee ballot here, or you can come and vote in the early voting polling place, which is located there, or you can wait until November 3rd and vote accordingly. Now, there's a lot of information here. The most important thing I want to mention here is not to exhaust you with all of the information that's here, but just to point you to this space in place. And I would say the most important thing on this whole page is this, and not because it's me, but because I can help point you in the right direction to any question that you have. And that's here. That's my email address. You click on that and you're away laughing. I'll give you my email again here at the end as well. So popping back over here into our presentation, this particular flow chart walks you through the online voter registration process, because this is something we're really proud of, because we like to think that the Student Democracy Coalition had a little bit to do with helping get online voting in the state of North Carolina. This was something that we've petitioned. We've had over 500 petition signatures accumulated to help support online voter registration, and it's something that just came into play this last March. So this is a new opportunity for at least some of our North Carolinian folks who want to register. So I will come here to the end, and I just want to say thank you all for sticking through to the end. We are located in 273 Belk, and my email is right there. You know our website. I want to give shout outs to everyone who makes all this work possible. That's Jennifer Cooper, Amanda Hanson, Brian Garland, and Angela Biggs, and Anna London. Each of them serve a different role in our center to make sure that you are as engaged as you can be every single day, and that you capture that civic spirit that is so important to catch while you're at university. So I'll leave it at that. I just want to say thank you so much for listening in today. And Yeah, thank you very much.